Good morning, welcome to Catex TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Friday, January 30th, 2015. If you want to follow us on Twitter, go to Catex TV. Next week, from Monday through Thursday, Matt Bernat will be doing the news. I will be in London. The U.S. economy missed the mark in numbers released today in its growth. It grew at 2.6% in the fourth quarter, below consensus expectations of 3% growth. This is a big slowdown from the 5% annualized pace set in the third quarter. Real personal consumption increased. It jumped up to 4.3% from 3.2% in the third quarter. The Federal Bank, the Federal Reserve, this week signaled that it was going to keep the interest rates at a low level, but based on the fact that the American economy was strong. It's unknown whether or not they're going to revise their view based on these numbers. The pilots of AirAsia Flight 8501 have apparently cut the power to a critical computer system on their Airbus. This would normally prevent planes from going out of control. The action appeared to have helped trigger the events of the December 28th crash when the Airbus A320 abruptly lost lift and crashed into the Java Sea, killing all 162 people aboard. The pilots had been attempting to deal with repeated alerts from the flight augmentation computers, which control the A320's rudders and prevent it from going too slow. After initial attempts to deal with the alerts, the pilots shut the entire system off by pulling a circuit breaker. Airbus discourages pilots from cutting power to systems because electronics in the highly computerized plane are interconnected, and turning off one system can often affect others. John Cox, a former A320 pilot who is now a safety consultant, said, particularly with an Airbus, you don't do that. Here's what happened as a result. Flight 8501, from a cruising altitude of 32,000 feet, after turning off the computer, jumped up to 37,400 feet in only 30 seconds. That's like a rocket. Despite repeated stall warnings, the plane continued to lift and ultimately stalled, and then spent 3 minutes drifting down before it plummeted into the sea. After 2 days of threats and tense deadlines, there is still no word today from ISIS as to the fate of the two hostages that were publicly shown earlier in the week, a Jordanian Air Force pilot as well as a Japanese journalist. The Jordanians have indicated that they are willing to trade a female suicide bomber for the lives of both, but are demanding proof of life for the Jordanian pilot. No word yet has been received from ISIS. Bermuda has apparently launched a bid to obtain a multinational insurance company, Sagicor, in a redomicile effort. Sagicor has been based in Barbados for 170 years, but Standard & Poor's recently slashed Barbados' sovereign debt rating down to BB-. S&P has a rule saying that individual firms cannot have a rating higher than that of their country. So this means that Sagicor's rating went down as well. Sagicor said that they need to restore its credit rating, and they're looking around. They have not made their mind where to go yet, but they did single out the United States, Trinidad, and other European countries such as the UK, Luxembourg, and Ireland. Bermuda is hoping that they're going to be looking at them as well. Here's an example of an innovative new product. American International Group has announced a new celebrity product recall response product designed to help customers respond to risks from a celebrity endorser's public fall from grace, scandal, or unexpected death. The insurance is triggered by significant news media coverage of an endorser's actual or alleged criminal act or other distasteful conduct that results in, or is likely to result in, public contempt for the individual and a significant adverse impact on a company's product. Policy page for recalling of the goods and products that may have the endorser's face on them, as well as for their destruction and any costs associated with that. It's a very good product, actually. It's in need frequently, as you see. Qatar Airways has bought a 9.99% stake in International Consolidated Airlines Group. IAG is a big European-based carrier that owns Iberia and British Air, and has recently put in a bid for the Irish carrier Aer Lingus. Qatar Airways is going to pay $1.7 billion for the stake. and will create opportunities in South Asia and Southeast Asia as part of the group. Here's an interesting story. It's relatively unattributed, but I'll give you the thread of it. In the United States, it's very hard to drive by in the northeastern part of the country anyway. It's hard to drive through any areas without seeing anti-fracking signs on people's lawns. Fracking, of course, is the process of injecting water under very high pressure into potential oil wells in order to force the oil out. It supposedly affects water aquifer quality, as well as a number of other things. There's an article saying that a Bermuda legal firm has been named in documents that contain allegations that Russian oil tycoons are funding anti-fracking campaigns in the U.S. The article, which is in the Royal Gazette, goes on to mention Wakefield Quinn, which is a law firm in Bermuda, as well as a Bermuda-based hedge fund called Klein Limited, and then goes on to describe a story based on a Washington, D.C. news organization called the Washington Beacon that apparently traces a thread between contributions from Russian big business into the Sierra Club and in turn then funds local anti-fracking efforts. It's a bit of a complicated read, and both parties, Klein and Wakefield Quinn, are denying any of the allegations as innuendo. However, separately, the former Secretary General of NATO, Anders Fogh Rasmussen, did say last year, "I have met with allies who can report that Russia, as part of their sophisticated information and disinformation operations, engage actively with so-called non-governmental organizations, environmental organizations working against shale gas to maintain European dependence on imported Russian gas." Of course, Europe would be benefiting from increased American production of both gas and oil. It's a very interesting article, and if it's true, would be something right out of John le Carré. That's the news for today. Matt Bernot will see you Monday. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching.